Welcome back to Unit 4, Module 1 of BIO304. We are still continuing in the study of ecosystem, and we want to talk about the interactions that exist within an ecosystem. When we say interaction, we simply means how organisms live together, how they interact with one another. So that is what interaction simply means. So without wasting your time, we will go straight into the types of interactions that exist within an ecosystem. Okay, so these interactions can be divided into 5. We have predator-prey interactions, symbiosis, commensalism, parasitism, and competition. This competition could be interspecific or intraspecific. Now, let's break it down one by one. Predator-prey interactions. What is predator-prey interaction? Predator-prey interactions are interactions between organisms in which one organism feed on the other. Example of them is lion hunting a gazelle. Another example is a cat and a rat. Each of them are feeding on one another. That is what we call predator-prey interaction. One must feed on another. Now, there are strategies that the prey use to run away from their predator. Okay, these strategies may not always obvious in some animals, and in some is very obvious. So some of these strategies are number one, they use chemical defense. Using of chemical defense to ward off predators. Chemical defense, example of such is we have snake, lizard, and fishes. Also, we also have bees, wasps, predatory bugs, scorpions, and spiders. Now, one thing you need to know in this is all of these things have another animals that can hit them, so they are a prey. But because of this chemical they are able to protect themselves and even use the same chemical to kill another animal. But this reason why we categorize them under prey is because they are not at the topmost of the tropic level. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. For instance, a snake can be eaten by a bird, can be eaten by what is it called? Can be eaten by an eagle. I hope you know that. So because of these poisonous, chemicals that are in snakes, some eagles cannot kill them because they know if they kill them and eat them, this venom is going to affect them. We have lizard as well. We have fishes. Some of them are very, very poisonous to eat. Okay. Then talking of bees, wasps, predatory bugs, scorpions, and spiders, I'm sure you know that all of these animals are very, very, toxic animals. That even if man's to eat it, we have a lot of process that we go through before we eat them. So that's number one. As far as animal is concerned, they use chemical defense to ward off uh, predators. Now let's talk about plants. Plants use thorns, spike, prickles to discourage browsers like vertebrates herbivores from feeding on them. So plants use thorns, one, they use spike, they use prickles. Also some plants like potatoes and tomato are rich in alkaloid and steroids, while others like in the milkweed family tend to produce a milky sap that deters herbivores from eating them. So you have seen some of the mechanisms that this prey use, or strategies that this prey use to ward off predators. As far as animal is concerned, they use chemical defense to ward off predators. And when we are talking of plants use thorns, spike, prickles to discourage browsers like vertebrates, to eat them, and also, production of alkaloid and steroids, as well as milky sap to deter herbivores from eating them. So that's about that. Now let's move on to symbiotic interactions. Symbiotic relationships are those in which two or more kinds of organisms live together in often elaborate and more or less permanent relationship. Symbiotic relationship is the type of relationship in which organisms live together. That is what we call symbiosis. They live together in symbiotic relationship. It could be that they are both benefiting, or one is benefiting and one is losing, or both of them are not even benefiting at all. Okay, so they give example of symbiotic interactions for fungi and the root of plants. In that kind of symbiotic relationship, fungi expedite the absorption of certain nutrients by the plant's root, and then the plant provide the fungi with carbohydrates. So that's an example of symbiotic interactions or relationship. Now let's explore the kind of symbiotic relationship we have. I told you earlier that one in a situation there might be one whereby they both benefit, okay, and one might be one that one is benefiting and one is losing. So let's explore the kind of symbiotic relationship that we have. We have commensalism, mutualism, and parasitism. Now what is commensalism? Commensalism is when the individual of one species are often physically attached to those of others. That is, they are physically attached to them. They cannot be separated. Example are the epiphytes. Epiphytes are plants that grows on the branches of other plants. Epiphytes plants are plants, that they are crippled plants. So they don't have a strong stem. So they have to tie themselves around big plant. I'm sure by this you will understand what I'm trying to say. When a plant is like a thread, that is those are the type of plant they call epiphytes. They don't have a strong stem, so they have to coil themselves around the branches of other plants. So that's what I'm saying here, that epiphytes are plants that grows on the branch of other plants. In general, the host plant is unharmed, why the organism that grows on it benefit. What type of benefit is that? Commensalism is benefiting by getting support. That is commensalism. Another interactions of commensalism occur, when we see birds and certain grazing animals, oxpecker and grazing animals like cattle and rhinoceros also exhibit this type of commensalism. Okay, now we go on to mutualism. Mutualism is a type of interactions or relationship whereby each organism involved benefit. Mutualism is a type of relationship in which each organisms involved in the symbiotic relationship benefit. Okay, both of them benefit from each other. So that is that about that. Now let's move to parasitism. Parasitism is a type of symbiotic relationship in which is harmful to the prey organisms and beneficial to the parasite. This is a situation whereby one benefits and the other is losing. That is what you call parasitism. Now we have parasitism can be divided into two. We have internal parasites and we have external parasites. Internal parasites of human include tapeworm, roundworm, and hookworm. Then we have external parasites that live outside. So when we say internal, we mean something that lives inside an organisms. And you can see that tapeworm, roundworm, and hookworm are inside the body of animals, are inside the body of humans. Then we talk of external parasites, which has to do with parasite that lives outside their host. So example of parasite, that live outside. Example of parasites live on the bodies of vertebrates, mainly birds and mammals, include lice and fleas. So that is that. Another type of interaction is called competition. And competition is an interaction that occurs among organisms within a community of an ecosystem when they require the same resources that is in short supply. We call that resource competition. Or when the organism seeking a resource harm one another in the process, even if the resource is not in short supply. We call that interference competition. I hope you get that. Now let's discuss the two types of competition that we have. We have interspecific competition and we have intra-specific competition. What is interspecific competition? Interspecific competition refers to the interactions between individuals of different species, both of which require the same resources that is in short supply. When you hear inter, you mean between one or more species. Interspecies competition. Okay. Now, another type is intra-specific competition. Intra-specific competitions. So, intra-specific competition, sorry about that, occurs when individuals of a single species or the same species compete for a resource that is in short supply. So this is between or within a species when they are competing for the same resources that is in short supply. So that is what they call intra-specific competition. I hope you get that. So they ask you to differentiate between interspecific and intra-specific competition. Then explain what is meant by predator-prey interactions. Predator-prey interaction. This is a situation whereby the predator wants to feed on a prey. So it's a kind of relationship, and we have discussed that earlier in this video. Now the tutor mark assignment here says name some defense methods used by organisms to protect themselves. We have excretion of steroids and alkaloid by some plants to protect themselves. We have chemical defense by some poisonous animals like that frog. We have snakes, we have scorpion that execrate chemical defense. But we also have in plant too. They develop thorns, pikes, to protect themselves. Now, what symbiotic relationship will you give the following? You can see I've given the answer already. Ant and aphid, they exhibit mutualism. Lice and birds, parasitism. Fleas and human, parasitism. Then cat and rat is predation. Cattle egret and cattle, we have commensalism. So that's about this unit. Thank you so much. If you have any question, please send message. Thank you.